In a recent move that has surprised many people out there, BioWare has announced it will not be creating downloadable expansions for Dragon Age the Veilguard. This decision marks a shift from its usual approach of providing post-launch story-driven DLC, a hallmark for both the Mass Effect and Dragon Age series. With the release of the Veilguard now behind us, BioWare now turns its full attention to the next Mass Effect installment, leaving fans without anticipated expansions like Trespasser or Awakening. It's being widely reported currently that BioWare's full attention has now shifted entirely to the next Mass Effect game, signaling a major priority change for the developers, and maybe we will get more news on it in 7 Day on November 7th. Before we get further into it, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Mass Effect news. BioWare's decision here to forego major expansions for Dragon Age the Veilguard is definitely unexpected, especially given its history with the DLC that they've released in the past. Fans of the studio are familiar with high-impact content such as Mass Effect 2's Lair of the Shadow Broker or Dragon Age Inquisition's Trespasser DLC, which added new layers of storytelling and extended the worlds of their respective games. However, BioWare creative director John Epler confirmed in an interview that Dragon Age the Veilguard will not receive the same treatment when it comes to post-launch content. According to Epler in this interview, the studio's focus is now on refining the Mass Effect universe, shifting resources to develop the highly anticipated 5th entry in the sci-fi franchise. Personally, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, so of course I might have a bit of a biased opinion on this matter, but I really want some more Mass Effect sooner rather than later, especially with how long it takes to develop these huge AAA games nowadays. The lack of planned expansions after the release of Dragon Age the Veilguard has understandably been met with some mixed reactions from the fanbase online. Many fans of the series expected at least one story-centric DLC, especially considering the critical success of previous Dragon Age expansions that enriched the main narrative and provided critical world building. For some fans of the series, BioWare's pivot away from DLC for Dragon Age the Veilguard represents a missed opportunity to expand the game's lore and character arcs, which have been central to the Dragon Age experience. On the other hand, supporters of this decision argue that focusing on a single cohesive release may allow the studio to create a more polished, focused experience. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. BioWare has expressed confidence that Dragon Age the Veilguard delivers a complete story experience that doesn't require any expansions, and I can respect that confidence. Game director Corinne Bush explained that the choice to omit additional content for the game is partly due to design philosophies. Dragon Age the Veilguard was crafted as a self-contained narrative. Bush further noted that DLCs sometimes cover material critical to the main story of the base game, which would ideally be included from the beginning. She mentioned that a game this comprehensive does not need to rely on expansions to satisfy the core story, which she describes as an epic conclusion a decade in the making. With Dragon Age the Veilguard now complete and released, BioWare is now focusing all its efforts on the next game in their development pipeline, and that game is Mass Effect 5. While little is currently known about the direction of the upcoming Mass Effect installment, BioWare's Michael Gamble has shared that the team aims to maintain the mature tone of the original trilogy of Mass Effect games. Gamble, who is now the project lead for Mass Effect 5, confirmed that the game will also retain its classic photorealistic style, contrasting with the Veilguard's more stylized, animated-inspired visuals. BioWare's commitment here to Mass Effect 5 suggests a desire to return to the franchise's roots, while also avoiding the stylistic changes seen in Mass Effect Andromeda that obviously weren't very well received by the fanbase. BioWare is taking some lessons from past projects like Anthem and Andromeda as it heads into the next phase of Mass Effect development. The negative reception of Anthem's multiplayer focus has reinforced the studio's preference for single-player RPGs moving forward. According to Epler, this decision aligns with BioWare's core mission to deliver rich, story-driven experiences, and in the past, that is what they've done the best. He emphasized the complications of blending world-altering player choices with a multiplayer environment, noting how community expectations were critical in guiding the design choices for both the Veilguard and the future Mass Effect game. While Mass Effect 5 is BioWare's current priority, its release is still years away at this point. Given BioWare's extensive development timeline, the next Mass Effect game likely won't launch before 2027. BioWare's development cadence has slowed significantly, especially in the last decade, as it has for many developers out there with how big games are at this point. And with this projected timeline of release for Mass Effect 5, it'll probably release on next-gen consoles at this point. Fans hoping for a fast faster release for this next Mass Effect game may have to temper their expectations a bit, as BioWare has been very clear about its commitment to quality over speed. The studio has hinted that this extended development period for their future games is to ensure that the next Mass Effect delivers an experience that lives up to the standards of the original trilogy, which is a very high bar. In addition to a refined focus on single-player RPGs, BioWare seems dedicated to delivering games that feel complete at launch, so that might hint that the next Mass Effect game might not have DLC either. Both Dragon Age: The Veilguard and the upcoming Mass Effect game are designed to stand alone without the need for substantial post-launch content. This approach allows BioWare to allocate resources towards creating a single cohesive experience for players, something fans of the genre have come to appreciate in a new era where live service models and multiplayer elements often dilute the storytelling quality. The big decision to shift entirely from Dragon Age: The Veilguard towards Mass Effect 5 represents a broader change in BioWare's operational focus. The studio, once known for juggling multiple IPs at once, is now concentrated on a few major projects. This change in direction at the studio comes amid a challenging period for BioWare, as its recent games have faced mixed receptions from fans. However, the success of Dragon Age: The Veilguard's release on Steam, setting records for BioWare titles, may indicate that the studio's new approach is already resonating with players. As BioWare moves forward with its focus on Mass Effect 5, the studio's shift away from Dragon Age: The Veilguard DLC represents a turning point for the studio. Although fans may feel the absence of these expansion packs post-launch, this new streamlined focus on development could yield a stronger product. By learning from past challenges and emphasizing single-player storytelling, BioWare seems positioned to deliver a new chapter in Mass Effect that could rekindle its former glory. As the studio navigates its evolving identity, fans remain hopeful that both Dragon Age and the Mass Effect series will continue to captivate audiences for years to come. What do you think about all of this news coming from BioWare about Dragon Age and Mass Effect? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As Dragon Age: The Veilguard finally launches, Mass Effect 5 director Michael Gamble has offered new insights into the next Mass Effect game. Responding to fan questions and criticisms surrounding the Veilguard's stylized visuals, Gamble confirmed that Mass Effect 5 will maintain a photorealistic aesthetic and the mature tone familiar to fans of the original trilogy. Gamble emphasized that while Dragon Age and Mass Effect are both BioWare titles, the sci-fi nature of Mass Effect demands a different approach to visuals and storytelling. In a series of posts on Twitter, Michael Gamble addressed fans' concerns, promising a mature tone and stating, "Mass Effect is photorealistic and will be as long as I'm running it." This distinction comes as Dragon Age: The Veilguard adopts a more animated, stylized look, drawing mixed reactions from fans. Gamble reassured fans that the Mass Effect team remains dedicated to the hard-edged realism seen in earlier games, aiming to capture the iconic sci-fi atmosphere of the series. This commitment aligns with Michael Gamble's comments that Mass Effect 5 will uphold the visual consistencies of its predecessors rather than experimenting with a new art direction. Mass Effect 5, which is still in early development at BioWare, is anticipated to feature the return of beloved characters, as indicated by teaser trailers over the last 2 years. With Dragon Age: The Veilguard now released, BioWare appears ready to fully focus on Mass Effect 5, hinting that the studio aims to blend familiar elements with advanced technology to meet modern expectations for realism and depth. Fans of the series can look forward to a continuation that respects its sci-fi roots, offering a visual and narrative experience true to the Mass Effect legacy. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Mass Effect news. And if you're looking for something else to watch, click one of the videos you're seeing on screen right now. I will see you there.